All right, we'll get started here. Yeah, just a tough loss. I mean, a very, very, kind of gut-wrenching loss. I thought our team really responded to a lot of the things we put in front of them as coaches all week. I thought we had a very spirited week and really a very spirited sideline the entire game. Had some opportunities, I thought, there, especially at the end of the first half, to really gain some separation. We were playing good ball, just not great ball, and had some, chances to separate against a good team on the road, which, when you're a great team, you take advantage of those, and we're not quite there yet. And came down to a back-and-forth game. A couple plays that we didn't make, some of the key plays. I mean, obviously having to kick some of those field goals. Thought we dropped two for sure touchdown passes, that certainly hurt. We really did a good job against the run game in the first half. We didn't do a very good job against Hall in the second half. Obviously a couple key penalties, and then, the biggest single play was probably the kickoff return, just because we had so much momentum after the turnover and touchdown. That was a huge individual play. So, had a couple tough calls that didn't go our way. That's part of life on the road. And again, we're one play short. And so, it's obviously our back's against the wall here as a football team. We know that. We understand that. We accept that. Our guys are hurt. Most of our guys in our room hadn't experienced, a start to a season like this. But it's still about how you respond. And I believe I know how this group will. I despite the sickening feeling in my stomach right now, and how disappointed we all are, we still know there's the makings of a good football team in there, and it's my job, our staff's job, our players' job to get to our best. And if we do that, this team can reel off a lot of wins. So I'll continue to ride with this team. We got a lot of guys in there that are down, but are certainly not out of the fight. And we're going to keep taking steps to get better.
Yeah, we have questions. We'll go to Barry Trammell.
Yeah, Lincoln, you had twice there down the stretch with the officials. I assume the last one was a hold. You wanted to hold on Campbell.
Yeah.
What was the first one? Institution situation?
Yeah, it was a substitution situation that we didn't agree with. And then, just, how tightly they called the game on the perimeter. We were recipient of several of those. Was disappointing, on maybe the single biggest play of the game that something that obvious was missed. But it was missed. That's part of, you got to overcome bad calls at times. That's part of it. And, but we weren't good enough to overcome that one.
Yeah, let's go to Jason Kersey.
Yeah, Lincoln, you talked earlier about playing good but not great football in the first half. What do you guys have to do to keep your foot on the gas and put teams away like that?
Yeah, just honestly, just make less mistakes and make more plays. I mean, as easy as that sounds. I mean, I thought our fight and our resolve and our energy was so much better consistently throughout the game than it was last week. The mistakes that we had were, obviously disappointing. But again, you're playing a good football team on the road too. I mean, it's not all going to be perfect. But yeah, I mean, having to kick some of those field goals when we were moving the ball at will. Gave up a couple of long conversions. Just a few little things here and there that were the difference between having a small lead at halftime and a really big lead. So, it's like I said, it's the frustration of you're playing good but not as good as you can. But for us, that frustration can't boil over into getting discouraged and to not continuing to push and be the direction that we know we can. That frustration's got to continue to fuel us, and we've got to continue to push to be what we can, because we know what we can be, and we're not there yet. And I know nobody wants to hear it, but the reality is we're close. We're closer than even we think right now, because we're so disappointed in the end result. But we're close, and if this team will keep hammering away, this team will get there.
Eric Bailey.
Hey, Lincoln, I just want to know, you talked about the kickoff return being such a big play, but what about that defensive holding call that replaced the 3 and out, and then the next play was the 65-yard touchdown pass?
Yeah, no, I mean there were several through the night. Listen, that sometimes those go your way, sometimes they didn't. They didn't go our way tonight.
Let's go to John Hoover.
Hey, Lincoln, just wanted to ask about the fourth quarter in particular. Second week in a row, you guys didn't respond either on special teams, on offense, or on defense in the fourth quarter. Does that surprise you a little bit? You thought this team poise was a little bit better, or is that just a reflection of the youth and inexperience of this team?
Yeah, well, we responded pretty good at the beginning of it, best I remember. Didn't do it very good at the end. I mean, I don't know exactly what it is. I mean, yeah, is it some young guys in some key position? Sure, but again, that's not an excuse or a crutch. I mean, we feel like we have the players in there to continue to get better. We feel like we took some steps. Again, nobody's. It's hard to accept that when you look at the scoreboard at the end of the game. It just we're so used to winning, and we expect to win every time we touch the field, and that's not going to change. So yeah, we have some youth, we have some key guys, and that are young and in some of these positions for the first time. But they've got to grow. We got to continue to coach them better, and we've got to continue to go finish. We've got to continue to grow and get to the point where we can finish the games we know we can and play as good as we know that we can.
Barry Murdoch.
Lincoln, I'm sorry. How surprised have you been just in your secondary? I mean, you had some opportunities to pick some balls off tonight, and it's just not been a strength of your team, which I think everybody thought it would be coming into the season.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like this whole team. I don't know that there's any part of the team that you sit there and say has been just awful, or any part of the team that you look there and has just been great. I mean, that's kind of been our problem, is we've been too up and down everywhere. But that's a fair, it's fair. I mean, we returned a lot of guys there. That's a group that certainly is not lacking on experience. That's a group that all of those guys can certainly play better. We've got some depth. We'll continue to explore that depth. But yeah, no question. I mean, do we hold ourselves to a higher standard? Do we feel like we've got to make some of those plays? Yes. Are you going to make them all as a DB, as a defense? No. But there's certainly some out there that we can make, and that for us to be the defense and team we want to be, that we are going to have to make.
A couple more. Brandon Drum.
Lincoln, in the first half, it looked like there was, I guess, a footing issue. There was a lot of sliding around. What did y'all do to adjust to that in the second half? And can you sense the frustration on the sideline with the missed tackles? I mean, as coaches, do you all sense that with the players and kind of try to calm them down? And how did y'all deal with that, I guess, throughout the game?
No, I thought our guys hung in there and kept swinging the entire game. I mean, that's I mean, listen, when you have the expectations that we do, sure, there's going to be a tiny level of disappointment anytime anything doesn't go your way, whether you miss a tackle or you drop a pass or you miss a blitz or whatever. I mean, it's, you're not going to be happy about things that don't go well. But I thought we hung in there and we really kept swinging, and a lot better. I mean, no question about that. I don't feel like our fight was the problem. Again, we got to play better football, and we got to quit having critical breakdowns in key moments, and that's so I think that's the main part of it there. And then as far as the footing, no, I didn't think so. I mean, it was a little wet early, but if it was footing, it wasn't anything with shoes or anything like that. It was us getting out of position. I thought both teams slipped around a little bit, and they've got a little bit high turf, so that's nothing new here.
Let's go to Keegan Renault.
You touched on it just a second ago, but obviously I asked you this week about tackling, the effort not being an issue a week ago. It was tonight. Can you point towards anything about why that happened? And maybe, there's questions about emphasis on turnovers and takeaways and stripping the football. But could you just point towards anything to maybe why the tackling, faltered tonight for you?
Yeah, I thought we led with our shoulder too much. I thought, too often guys just coming in there trying to clean somebody up and go for the big hit as opposed to getting these guys down. And, And so, that's the key. I mean, when you're trying to strip balls and knock balls loose, I mean, you got to make a good solid tackle first. And if you get a great shot on a guy and make a great tackle, that's great. Or if you can get a guy wrapped up and then the rest of the guys come in and start stripping, that's great. But too often, I think the combination of two things, either the first guy getting there trying to take a big shot as opposed to just wrapping them up. And then I think the second thing is, if a first guy's there and got him wrapped up and the other guy's come in to clean him, the first guy's still got to finish it off. And I thought we had examples of both. And listen, too, I mean, the back's a good player. I mean, the back is, he makes a lot of people miss, and he's a good football player. He's going to get a couple, but, we gave him too many that he got loose on in the second half. So we have to be better.
And James Hale.
Lincoln, obviously your football team's good enough to win the first two games, and you either play here or play there, or something happens, you haven't won the first two games. How frustrated are you and your staff and your team right now that you're very close to being 2-0, but yet you're 0-2 at this point?
Yeah, no, that's a sick feeling, especially about tonight. Just like I said, our energy level and fight, the energy level on that sideline the entire night. I mean, it was the energy level and fight was what it's supposed to be to win road football games, and we've been around a lot of great road wins around here, and that's what it feels like. And then how against good teams on the road, the quality of ball's got to back that up too. Especially when you have a few breaks that don't go your way, you got to be able to just play through it. And so, no, it's hard to describe. I mean, the frustration and it is so. It's just hard to explain to people how much it hurts. It's just, if you haven't been in it, it's so difficult to explain. But like I said, it's balanced by, I know what this team can be, and I know that we can get there. And the only disappointment, the only failure in this thing will be is if we don't find out how good we can be, and if we let this, somehow, take away from our growth as a team and our growth as a program. So, you got a choice, man. These are tough times, and you either back down or bow up, and we'll find out what we're all about.